League is over. Men's basketball fell short last weekend on the road. We'll have more in sports.
Again, winter weather caused problems in Metro Atlanta. We'll have more later.
A grant funds Georgia State's newly conducted tobacco research. Those stories and more tonight on Panther Report.
Good evening. I'm Jayla Bell.
And I'm Yasmin Alston.
Georgia State's men's basketball team fell short on their 15th game this past Saturday. It was a close game, ending with a score of 85-81, leaving the Panthers down by 4. We'll have more in sports with Davon Kimball later on Panther Report.
Atlanta experienced another round of winter weather last week, but this time Georgia State students were not on campus to witness it. The decision to cancel classes and close the campus was made on Monday night before the winter weather arrived on Tuesday. In regards to the previous winter weather that left much of Atlanta in gridlock, GSU President Mark Becker responded by acknowledging his responsibility for the decision to close the university when he did, and extended his sincere appreciation to those staff members who stayed on campus during that time.
Inclement weather created uproar within the GSU community on January 29th when President Becker closed the university at 1 o'clock. The signal collected a poll grading the president's response time to the storm. 14% of residents versus 20% of commuters failed the president, and 8% of residents versus 14% of commuters gave him an A. Strategizing to implement new emergency protocols, Becker made a faster decision to shut down the campus during last week's storm.
Georgia State receives a grant for tobacco research. Our own Angie Rosette has more on the story.
We expect to start collecting data later this year in 2014. Part of our goal is to understand how people make decisions about whether to use tobacco products or not, with a particular emphasis on these new products like e-cigarettes, even hookahs, little cigars that are flavored. We're trying to understand how consumers perceive that, whether young people react differently than adults, whether current smokers react differently than ex-smokers.
The $19 million grant will be funded by the National Institute of Health and the Food and Drug Administration. The funds will be disbursed through a 5-year period, and research will focus on the understanding of human decision-making around the use of tobacco. This includes the economic aspect, consumer reaction to tobacco marketing, and individual perception of risk using novel tobacco products.
E-cigarettes are being sold implicitly as a way of stopping to smoke traditional cigarettes, which, if that happened, would be good because e-cigarettes are less harmful because there's no smoke. However, what the data are indicating is that people are using both. They're smoking traditional cigarettes when they can, and then smoking e-cigarettes when they can't.
With an annual revenue of $2 billion from tobacco sales alone, CVS's decision to end its sale of tobacco products by October 1st comes to much surprise.
They made a couple $1 billion a year nationally from selling tobacco products. So by giving that up, they're giving up a known revenue source, but they believe that it's worth it because they want to be seen as a health company, someone that sells health and not disease.
With new technological developments such as e-cigarettes, the full effects are yet unknown. Will they ultimately show the same effects as traditional cigarettes? This grant may be able to provide us with further insight in the near future. Reporting for GSTV News, Angie Rosette.
Some of you may have felt a slight tremor on Friday evening after an earthquake hit just north of Augusta, Georgia, with a magnitude of 4.1. The quake hit a little before 10:30 p.m. on Friday night and was felt from parts of South Carolina to areas throughout Georgia, stretching more than 150 miles away from its center.
Coming up on Panther Report, we'll look at the traffic on the intersection of Cortland and Gilmer Street.
Traffic at the intersection of Cortland and Gilmer Street has some students waiting through multiple light changes just to move a few feet. We sent our reporter John Michael Drain to investigate the problem.
Here at the intersection of Cortland Street and Gilmer Street, GSU commuter students and others experience frustration as the slow light delays them during rush hours. The flow of the intersection is disrupted with no light to allow for left turns onto Cortland Street.
Like sometimes when I walk, like it kind of takes a long time for me to cross the street, so that aspect is kind of difficult.
Traffic easily backs up to Grady Hospital during GSU's busiest hours.
I definitely think that this intersection and then plus a couple others get extra dangerous because people are really frustrated. People are trying to go run the light as much as they can, or speed through on yellow, or go through on red because they've been waiting a while, I guess.
The students of GSU clearly feel the tension during these hectic jams as well. One thing is certain, if the situation at Cortland Street and Gilmer Street remains unchanged, the problems will only worsen as the student population continues to grow at Georgia State. For GSTV News, I'm John Michael Drain.
The Atlanta streetcars arrived this week, causing delays on Edgewood Avenue. The project is expected to wrap up sometime this spring.
The Distinguished Speaker Series featuring renowned animal expert Jungle Jack Hanna was canceled due to inclement weather on February 12th. Campus Events is working toward finding another date for this event. Until such time, the organization suggests attending GSU Night at the Aquarium on February 21st. Tickets can be purchased at the ticket booth in the University Center.
The winning streak ends at 14 for the Panthers after they were defeated in Troy, Alabama. More on men's basketball after the break.
Presenting your Georgia Power Energy Efficiency Team.
Helping you save money and energy around your dorm and apartment, one easy tip at a time.
Laundry do's and don'ts.
Don't use too much detergent. Rinse in cold water.
This past Saturday night, the Panthers' 14-game winning streak came to a dramatic end as they fell 85-81 on the road against the Troy Trojans. But could they get back on track as they hosted Texas State this past Monday?
After a devastating loss in Troy this Saturday, the Panthers came back to play Texas State tonight with a final score of 68-41.
Proud of our guys, good comeback game. I thought we wanted to make a statement defensively. That was not us Saturday, we know that. We were embarrassed. The last 48 hours has not been real good in our program. No one smiled, no one's really been happy. We've been angry because we felt like we let something get away. But at the end of the day, as I told my team before we went out, blessings come in different ways. comes in different ways. And the pressure of the streak and some of those things, we don't have to talk about. One of the things.
The game started off with a slow start, but quickly picked up as the leading scorers were Ryan Harrell at 17 points, Manny Atkins at 15 points, and Curtis Washington with 10 points. Also tonight, Harrell joined Manny Atkins in reaching 1,000 points in his career.
It's pretty cool, I guess, but I'm just happy that we won. That's what I was focused on mainly, because we lost to Troy, and I don't take anything away from them, but that was a game that we were supposed to win, and we won this game, so I'm just happy that we won today.
The Panthers are now 11-1 and will play again on Thursday night versus Louisiana Monroe. Tila Grant reporting for GSTV Sports.
The Panthers continue their homestand this Thursday night against the University of Louisiana Monroe and again Saturday night against the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Softball hosted the Panther Invitational, playing 4 games in total this past weekend. On Saturday, they defeated Bowling Green by a score of 11-1, but lost against the University of Tennessee Martin by a score of 9-7. And on Sunday, the Panthers defeated Indiana by a score of 4-3, and then defeated East Tennessee State by a score of 11-5. After going 3-1 this weekend in games played, the Panthers softball squad is now 4-1 for the season. Just recently, R.J. Hunter became the 18th Panther to cross the 1,000-point threshold in only 55 games, which stands as the second fewest games played to just 49 games set by Philip Luckydew. We sat down with the sophomore stud about his thoughts about the season and who's in his Mount Rushmore in the NBA for this week's Athlete of the Week.
It's been great, especially for our seniors. We got about 4 or 5 of them, and just to see how hungry they are and how successful they want to be. It's great that we turn it around pretty quick, especially right before conference play. It's just really a matter of reps, just coming in here at late night, early morning, just getting extra reps in and not just doing what the team and what the coaches ask you to do. And that's what I've been trying to preach to our freshmen and even our juniors, because the seniors kind of figured it out, but the more reps you get, the more successful you'll be. Ron Harper, I think he's a 5-time NBA champion, played with Kobe Bryant and Shaq in their prime, and Michael Jordan in his prime. So he's taught me a lot. He has 1 ring with 4 diamond trophies on it, which is probably worth millions of dollars. And I got to hold it one time, and I felt like a little kid at a toy store. But he's a really cool dude. He's really experienced and has a lot of good advice, so I talk to him often.
Right. Most recently, LeBron James, everyone has had this interview with him about his Mount Rushmore in terms of his NBA players. So who is in your Mount Rushmore in the NBA?
Mine is probably going to be a little off, but I'm going to go with Reggie Miller, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and I'm going to put LeBron James in there.
For more sports updates, visit the Panther Report website. This has been your GSTV Sports Update. I'm Davon Kimball.
Thank you for watching this edition of Panther Report. Please visit us online for stories not featured in tonight's broadcast.
Follow us on Twitter at Panther_Report and like Panther Report on Facebook. I'm Jayla Bell.
And I'm Yasmina Alston. Have a good evening.